boys and girls. Welcome to another episode of the worst financial decision I have ever made in my life. And as you can see regarding that decision, after 4.5 years, the 1979 Datsun 280ZX is back on the road. And it feels good. But if you're watching this video and you've watched some of the other videos, then maybe you're sitting there thinking, hey, wait a minute. The last time I saw that car, it was sitting in a garage in pieces. And as you can see, it's still basically in pieces, but it runs and drives in pieces now. So that's way, way cooler. Everyone agrees. But unfortunately, I didn't record a lot of that stuff. So today's video is going to be a little catch-up session on some of the work that went into getting this old gal starting and stopping and driving, and how we got from where we were to where we are today. So enjoy.
Going back here to the very beginning, if you're familiar with these cars, you know they can take a lot of work, and this one was no exception. Had a lot of crusty parts, a lot of rusty spots that I needed to take care of, and so that started with pulling a lot of the body panels off and getting access to everything.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Cleaning those up so that eventually I can send it all off to the paint shop to get put into primer by people who actually know what they're doing. But I decided I'd try to save a few bucks and do a bunch of the prep work beforehand myself. That included a lot of parts that nobody will ever see unless they take the whole car apart again, but it was just how much stuff had been rusted from sitting outside over the years and being exposed to all the elements. And once we got most of the prep work done, it was time to load it up onto the dolly, take it to the professionals to do a full body primer. Next step in the project here, the fuel tanks on these are kind of notorious for rusting, especially if they've been sitting. So I went ahead and dropped this one, cleaned it all off, and then had it dipped and lined so that it will hopefully prevent any future rusting from happening. Gave it a nice spray, sealed it all back up, and put it back together. That also included cleaning up the fuel sending unit. As you can see, that was pretty crusty too. Another big project on the car was the dashboard restoration. Again, with these cars, always something. This one had a bunch of cracks, pretty typical. Followed a really nice YouTube video from Polyvance. They made a great line of products, so I just followed their step-by-step instructions here, did some filler, some padded filler to put the dashboard back together. Set up my little paint booth there in the garage and repainted it. Not half bad. Did some work on some wiring, replaced light bulbs and speakers. Since I had it all pulled apart, might as well. Cleaned up the climate control system, put a bunch of new foam in that, and slapped it all back together. The next step in the project was the rear brakes. They've been seizing up a lot. Once the brakes warmed up, they would seize up. So went ahead and gave the rear brakes a rebuild, new seals, and they were pretty torn up. And then also looking here at the brake master cylinder, that might have had something to do with it. So went ahead and pulled those out of the car as well. Gave those a restoration. I just went and got a new master cylinder, replacement one. Was able to find one on Napa, I think had one. So got a new cylinder. The brake booster was good. It still held pressure, held vacuum. So just cleaned that up and put it back in. Bench bleeding the new brake master cylinder here. It's kind of a slow process. And once you get the air out of that system, put it back carefully and bleed the brakes so that now we can drive around more than 20 minutes. Hooray! Hello, here we are talking to ourselves again. So, with that work done for now, on this channel, eventually I'd like to go from doing mechanic stuff to doing actual car stuff, you know, driving stuff. And so one of the things that means is going to be actual testing, driving and trying stuff out, upgrading things, and then testing them out to see how it works. And so that's going to start by doing some time driving and see how that changes. And that whole process is going to start with this car, the Daily Driver. All right, this car is the 2012 Infiniti G37X sedan. So anyway, plan here is go for a spirited drive, run it with a stopwatch, see how long it takes me to get from point A to point B, and then as I make changes and upgrades to this bad boy, we'll go do the same spirited drive, run the stopwatch, and see how those times compare. Goal being to eventually maybe get this car driving similar to this car. So a short time later, I'm out here at the test track to see what kind of benchmark time we can set with the old family sedan. So let's get to it. And here we go. Obviously, it is much darker out now because I didn't realize how long it would take me to get the camera mounted on the car. So sorry about that. I'll definitely keep it in mind for future driving videos. But anyway, cutting this one up here a bit short. I think it'd be a bit long to watch, so here's some of the bits and pieces. I'll also share a video of the full drive if you're interested in watching that. And as I'm going down the road here, just mentioning that I would call this a spirited drive, not an all-out race down the road. So I'm not trying to be too big of a jackass out here. Now coming around the final turn here to a little stopping point I've marked with a couple cones. Hard to see in the dark, but it's right there. And there you go, 3:59.14. We'll call that a benchmark time. Certainly not an exact way to measure the performance, but it is something. So I've got a time here to work toward in the older Z car, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that 45-year-old Datsun compares to the much more modern Infiniti with a lot more power. But I think it's going to be a good challenge, and I'm excited to chip away at that time. We'll see how close we can get on our little 4-mile test track here. So anyway, that's it for today. As always, I appreciate you checking out the videos. And if you are, I hope you'll like and subscribe and comment and do all the social media stuff. So, thanks again, and hope to see you on the next one.